Wow, I just had another day of such good fellowship with some of my friends, and I pray this will be a blessing to you and give light to your darkness. I had a great conversation with a lady today, and I don't know her real well, but she definitely has been thinking about interacting with her husband for his own benefit instead of hers, and it's bearing a lot of good fruit for her, so I was pretty excited to hear that. I actually was telling her that when we're weak, we're strong. The whole world's gospel is to be strong, brand yourself, be strong in you, be strong in you, be strong in you, you, me. It's all, how does the song go? Me. That's the world we're living in. That's the gospel of the world. Me. And says this: you can fulfill all the law in one thing. Love your neighbor as yourself. Follow peace and holiness with all men, and you'll see my salvation. That's because our Father in heaven wants us to love our brother, because he's in the business of the saving and keeping of souls, right? So I was talking about not having any confidence in the flesh. I never was a self-confident woman, and even right now, I wouldn't make this video if I was the way I was before. Now I just really want to please the Lord, and I really don't care if people pick me apart or get offended or, think I'm crazy or I look crazy. I want to give me and Jesus away, and that's all that really matters. That's all we can do, because all Christ is, he is within us, hope of glory, living word. And we all only have right now. I could be dead later. So I'm going to make the best of every moment and try to give people me and Jesus. I want to say a few things about that because I had some good chats with some friends today. So we talked about we're all idolaters living in happiness for some other time. The grass is going to be greener. I'm going to be happy when, the eyes of the fool are to the ends of the earth. Wisdom is right in front of the face of the man who has understanding. And really that played out with my kids, these little balls that were bumping into me. And I was trying to find my life. Where am I going to find my life? Where am I going to get what I need? And I finally decided to start losing my life for those little people that were bumping into me. Changed my whole world, changed my life. I saw the wisdom right in front of my face. I started losing my life for my own children and found it. And then God brought me his people. Same thing happened. Because when you lose your life, you'll actually find it. But self-happiness idolaters are always looking for the greener grass somewhere else. They're not in the present with you. A lot of people are just bringing their demons to lunch or dinner, or whenever they come into a room. Pretense, lying, pride, whatever it is that your problem is, because it's us, and whatever spirit we're of in the here and now is what we're having to offer others, right? So idolaters for happiness, they're not present in the now. Idolatry, I never have seen so clearly. Idolaters are not living in the here and now. They are not with you in the room. Just like little children, look how much fantasy they live in of getting what they need. They're usually not with you when they're in the room either, right? So, and we're living in a world of self-esteem, self-reliance, brand yourself, the gospel of self. Everyone in the world is a narcissist but you, right? That's what the counseling of the day says. How to protect yourself from other narcissists because you've never been one, right? So we have this human wisdom, and we protect what we love. Jesus himself had some unusual ways of protecting who he loved, the Father. Like, you snakes, you vipers, you're going to die in your sin. You whited sepulchres, making a whip. He did some pretty drastic things to expose who he loved. And, God's not supposed to have any emotion, right? God has a lot of emotion. And it's okay for us to have emotion. It's be angry and don't sin. That's what Jesus said. Be angry and don't sin. And, there's another scripture that says, the dog can't bark. And it was talking about prophets. These prophets can't bark. They're like dogs that are no good because they won't defend anything. And you don't know when the bad guy's coming because the dog won't bark. True men of God bark. My husband was showing me a little video from a movie too, and it was really deep about how men tick and how men are barkers. And really anybody that's defending the God and the Jesus Christ they love, they have a little barking going on too. Sometimes my husband's barked at people and I thought, man, they're not going to live through that. And it ended up working so good for them. They needed somebody to bark. And then the scripture says, whose mouths must be stopped. They glory in what they should be ashamed of. So Jesus has some emotion. He was full of passion. And out of the abundance of our heart, our mouth will speak or not speak. That's why idolaters, wow, my glasses are not doing good here. That's why idolaters can't love their brother, because they're looking for happiness outside of the here and now. And when we're walking in integrity in the here and now, it's actually the only hope we have for really being happy. So when we get out of being a victim, because we're always thinking about tomorrow or the past, or somewhere over the rainbow, there's going to be greener grass. We're a victim of our right now, right? So, but that's really, again, all we have. And again, a lot of people are defending the world of flattery they live in to get their needs met. So they flatter themselves in their own conceit. They flatter other people in their own conceit. They actually don't love people enough to tell them the truth. And I was thinking about being open, because in a world that we're reading about, these living epistles, all these people that were open with all the issues of life in the Bible, the world is living in a gospel of hiding, lying, pretense. And it's easy to despise being open and humble in the now when you're living for control, really. So I have lived in a world where everybody controlled everything they said, did, think, in a good way and a bad way more than anything, because that kind of control is fear, and control is called the spirit of Jezebel, right? And there's not really too much good that happens when we're pretenders. So happiness really is elusive to people that live in the world of lust and pride and living to get their own needs met their own way. Happy is the woman, the man that fears always and doesn't condemn themselves in what they're allowing, like right now. That's what true happiness is, when I'm not condemning myself in what I'm saying, thinking, speaking right now. And you know, when Jesus made a whip, and when he did said some pretty drastic things, he wasn't condemning himself in what he allowed, because he wasn't a humanist and he didn't exalt human reasoning. And I had a bad problem when I married Gene, because I only exalted my leaning on my own understanding, my own humanism. So when he didn't fit into humanistic protocol, I became an adversary to him. But I learned some things about who Jesus really is. So happiness is elusive to lusters. Worldly humanistic gospel of self-love and self-actualization. It's not okay for us to defend the one we love, the lover of our soul. We just have to be nice. There's no room for being angry and sinning, not in the gospel of self-love, self-happiness, and self-actualization, man's wisdom. And here's some dialogue with one of my friends. She's actually talking about living in contention and confusion and chaos. And it was the portion of her self-willed, self-pleasure seeking. And you know what? Anybody that meddled with her happiness, her husband included, was the source of her anger and wrath. So she's saying, once upon a time, I had friendships with several women my age. We walked through life in the flesh, grumbling and complaining, discontent, looking for comfort in all the wrong places, lifting up our wisdom and the comfort of man as we grumbled and complained about others and our self-righteousness, even our own husbands. I'm going to continue this because this is going to be a little longer than I thought it was.